Absolutely based crossover here. We got Legendary Drops and Bucky from Palworld, and they're mocking the gaming journalists, calling out the corpos. We got Legendary Drops talking about the critic scores over on Metacritic, writing 13 reviews for Palworld after a month, 57 for Beast of Reincarnation after 2 days, 51 for Halo. Really shows where their loyalty lies. I get that it's a long game, but y'all are washed. Y'all are washed. For those that don't know where the critic score on Metacritic comes from, it's basically like a not amalgamation, but you could say that. It's like an aggregation of what they call their like curated sources, which includes their this is so funny, quote unquote, like reputable outlets and reputable journalists, because gaming journalists and reputable, that's definitely not an oxymoron. And that's when head of publishing and communications for Palworld, Bucky, responds. And he says to Legendary Drops, I mean, to be fair, we didn't send out press keys in advance, and for sure the other games did. We weren't really thinking about critic reception at all, and we wanted the content of 1.0 to remain a secret and unspoiled right up to the release. So we kept it all pretty close to our chest. If we had gone the more traditional route and prioritized critic reception, which is a very valid to market a game in some cases, then we probably would have sent out press keys a month or so in advance. Palworld 1.0 was very much for the fans, not for the industry based. Just a different case is all. It's also like a game that requires a fairly significant time investment, so I can't fault media for not wanting to put the time in post-release. No harm. I was being a little bit too nice there, though. Maybe we'll try play the press/media game a bit more in the future with Pal Farm or something. Don't. Why would you do that? It's honestly a side of the industry we aren't too experienced in. I just love the opening to this too, though. Like my favorite parts here is when he's like, yeah, we didn't even send press keys out to them. That's funny. And then saying, you know, again, Palworld 1.0 is for the fans, not for the industry. Like I said, that's based. But hopefully he doesn't start, or hopefully they don't start, you know, like trying to get more involved with the gaming journalists out there. That would be a bad move. Legendary Drops comments as well, saying, well, obviously by the outcome, you guys chose the right crowd to prioritize. Exactly. Great work all around. Not many games can get 300 hours out of me. And Bucky says, much appreciated, with a handshake. Let's check out these two responses, and then I want to go back to Metacritic. I saw some hilarious reviews I just want to laugh at the end real quick, but check these out first. Thank God we have developers like you guys who seemingly don't care about the press. I know you weren't thrashing them or trashing them, but I will. Game journos are a cancer, and how they do not feel about your game is irrelevant, as Palworld proves. The sooner we can let that industry die, the better. Then we got this one. It says, quote, maybe we'll try and play the press/media game a bit more in the future with Pal Farm or something. You know, that part of the tweet that we read from Bucky. This guy saying, please don't. These people will only play ball with you if they're able to insert themselves within your studio and destroy you from the inside with their vile subversions. They are a cult, and they do not want you to succeed. The further you distance yourselves from them, the better your product will remain, and the more us fans will praise you for it. Not colluding with these subversives is the advertising. It shows to the gamers you're working for them, not cog in the struggle session machine. And that takes us back over to Metacritic and the two reviews that I mentioned that I thought were pretty hilarious. These are actually two user reviews. First one giving Palworld a 0, saying, stolen designs, stolen ideas, and everything is buggy, unoriginal husk. Then they're all cussing and saying, very disappointing. And then this guy gives Palworld a 1, and this guy's definitely not Yami Yugi. He says, this is so funny, bro. Cruelty of every imaginable kind of animal. Cruelty of every imaginable kind to animals with no meaningful consequences for it. Too grind heavy halfway through the game, bored after 7 to 8 hours, and disgusted by what the game expects you to be okay with participating in. Was this made by PETA or something? Like, what are you even talking about? Animals? There's not even animals in the game. They're pals, and like, you know, that's part of the joke. It is a little messed up. Some of it's actually really messed up. I'm not going to lie. Like the whole, like, you know, butcher knife thing and all that. But I mean, it's a silly game. These are not real. Like, what are you talking about? By the way, yeah, I noticed that I actually, like, you know, misspoke reading this a little bit a couple times. My bad. I'm not going to re-record it, though. That would just take away the humor. I'm going to, like, have to react to it again. No, we're not going to do that. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.